Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome back to Jamaica Plain. So we're going to add another shop today and try and work on making this into a bit more of an alleyway type of feel. Going for something fairly claustrophobic, so I think we're getting there now. So as you can see, we've got this big open space left to work with. Going to put another odd-shaped building in here. Going to turn it into a clinic. It's a similar principle to we used for the robot shop there, more or less a triangle, but a little bit different. So, starting off here with the wooden floor piece and then the triangular one from the concrete tab. Get things lined up. This will end up being, for the most part, a little bit easier than the first one, partly because I've done it before. Also, it just cooperated, which was a bonus, for the most part, anyway. So, we'll chop a couple of these half-width ones down the middle. Give us a little bit more room to work with. Fill up the gap a little bit better. Adjusting things in this space is a little difficult, because group selecting was starting to grab the buildings either side as well now. So, a little bit of care is needed. Drop one more triangle in there. And there we go. Not quite got the line right there, so as I say, unfortunately, it doesn't really want to play ball. Even though we didn't grab the buildings at that time, for some reason I can't sink it in. Possibly the scrap that settlement mod getting awkward again, so we'll pull it apart. Realign that first piece, which should probably have checked the first time, but there we go. Not quite. Actually, this edge of the settlement build is not quite straight with the wall. It's a little bit wider out here than it is further down the end. Originally, I had hoped to be able to incorporate that back wall there on the left into the build, but as you can see, it's just outside the build area, so it's a little inconvenient. Not quite sure why Bethesda would do it that way, but there we go. It would be good to be able to use a staircase or something like that in a build, but not without expanding the build area, which is not something I really want to do. There we go, snap a few walls in, now we've got it into place. And again, we're going to use this large concrete wall to position a floor in over the top of that lower triangle. So we can snap that in, so we don't have a suitable ceiling piece. Unfortunately, these concrete wall pieces are a little temperamental about whether they want to snap, or a little too willing to snap, perhaps. They don't always snap where you think they have, so there's a slight error there, which we'll have a look at in a moment. But here I'm going for this wall and roof combo, because I want to do something a little bit different, get a slightly different shape on it to the first one we did over with the robot shop. And also it'll add to the claustrophobic alleyway sort of feel that we're going for. So that's not going to snap on, largely because of the floor piece we've used. So a little bit of group select, get that lined up. It's actually wound up being quite easy to get into place. It was more cooperative than I anticipated. There we go. Obviously we'll have to extend the wall a little bit, but we'll do that in just a moment. And we'll use the angled one around the other side again. Just much as the same as we did on the first one, but it gives it a slightly more interesting shape than just using the flat vertical ones. Now here we start running into a few issues. Stemming from the fact that I didn't quite snap that ceiling piece into the right place, but we'll see in just a moment. That lined in place. There we go. See, it's not matching up. As I say, it's just because that ceiling piece is not snapped in where we need it. See, the gap is not the right width either, it's a little too far over to the right as well. So, Sam will snap the wall back in a little bit more carefully. Adjust it, and there we go. There are a few pieces in this build that I didn't need to group select or do anything fancy with. They're just willing to place straight in, which this was one of them. Which was very handy, makes life a lot easier. A little bit of an adjustment to get that position where we want it. Make sure the corners match up. There we go. Nice and easy. Snap some floor pieces in there for the roof, because obviously we haven't got anything that fits in the gap. In custom vanilla assets there are a couple of roof pieces that are about the same width as this, but once you use the angled ones, they obviously take up less room, they're a bit smaller, so they won't fit anyway. So it's much easier just to snap those straight in, especially as they'll connect just to the floor pieces we've got over the triangle sections for roofs much more easily. So on the back edge here, the gap's actually, for some strange reason, doesn't quite fit with the wall piece, so we'll just put the two together. Again, no need to group select, they're very soft on their edges, this one. And we'll just position it in. So one thing to bear in mind is making sure you've got enough space behind it here to position that ashtray in. So I had to push it over towards the left where the build area leans out a little bit more and we had a bit more space. And that one just went in just fine on its own without any extra help. There we go. So my first thought when I was building this was actually to do it as a clothing shop. I wasn't sure what I wanted to put here, and don't really need to put a restaurant or anything like that in there because we've got the bar for that. But I figured, as it's biker themed, most of the, or eventually will be finished off as a biker theme anyway. Most of the clothing they get probably come from the Atom Cats anyway, who are just around the corner, so didn't really need a clothing shop here. So I thought clinic's probably a good idea. Especially if they're going to be riding around on motorcycles, there's a fair chance of them injuring themselves. So obviously with using the end of this narrow piece, we don't have any door frames that fit, so this is another one of the automatically closing doors from the appropriately named mod. Also closing doors and gates. Which of course, as always, you can find in my mods list down below in the description. That mod has some that do snap straight into door frames and some that don't. This is one of the ones that doesn't, because it goes much more easily in place, or much easier to place manually rather. So get that in, and now we need to build a door frame around it, which is much easier now I've got Toys Out of the Pram's Pillars and Supports mod. These planks make the job a lot easier than what I used to have to do, which was just to use basically wire fence posts, is what I was using in the past. But I'll get that one group selected in. It's a little bit too tall, but it'll sink into the ground just fine, so we can line it up that way. That angled up. Get it connected to the wall and just sat carefully up against the door frame there. Edge of the door, rather. The one thing I did have to do on this, most of the time the scrap settlement wasn't too awkward to work with, but on a few occasions I found it was easier to position the object I wanted to group select towards the pillar, or the ashtray, depending on what I was using, rather than move the anchor point, the pillar or the ashtray, to the object. This collision was being a bit strange for some reason, but it's a useful little something to bear in mind. It's a lot quicker to do than coming all the way out and turning the mod off, which to be fair I did end up having to do towards the end, but for the most part it wasn't too bad. So this gap over the top needs closing up now, and it's a little too big for just one piece, so we're going to grab a couple of these planks from custom vanilla assets. We've got different angles available, we're just going to use the 90-degree ones. And we'll just drop them one on top of the other. Do have to group select with this, otherwise they'll just snap straight through the ground. There we go, get that lined up. Lift it up a little bit more. There we go. So we'll just pick it up into the air so we've got the height. And then we'll group select the whole thing into place. Nice and easy. A little challenging to see what you're doing with the shadows here, but we managed okay. Sometimes it helps to just sleep for a bit, change the time of day so the sun's in a different position, you can see what you're doing a bit more easily, but it wasn't too bad for this one, I managed okay. And there we go, it fits nicely. Sometimes I have to do a bit of trial and error to make sure it's not clipping through when you open the door, but I think this one worked okay. Yeah. I've done it a couple of times now, so a little bit of practice helps. There we go. So this wall, I think, is from USO, I think. Or it might be from a junk wall collection, it's one or the other. But there's a selection of internal walls. Some have windows in, like this one has got glass in it, some don't. But I thought we'd do something a little different, put a window in here. And again, no group select needed, it's nice and easy to get this one in. These are particularly friendly with their collision. And there we go. So just a couple of staircases to go in, one in front of the doorway and one either end of the little archway we've got on the side of the building here. Just to sort that pathing out. For the most part, I think the pathing's going to be okay on this. But they won't step up the side there without something to encourage them to do so, so the staircase should do the job quite nicely. That lined up nice and easy. And there we go. Quick and easy and straight onto the decoration. Yeah. So for those two stairs and the barrels you see on the left here, I did have to turn the scrapping mod off just to get the pillar to go in where I needed it to. But otherwise it was very, very easy to do. Starting to get that alleyway feel. I think in the next one I'm going to work on that house and do a little bit more decoration out here, try and complete the feel a little more. Yeah, a couple of cinder blocks there just to stop it floating in the couple of areas where it is. A couple of light boxes there. One of the easiest ways to mark out a clinic, because we don't have very many signs available. That one spinning at the back is the mega surgery sign from Diamond City that's added by USO, I think that one. There's actually a few mods add that, but that does help, but I wanted something a little bit more bold and obvious to show what we've got here. There we go, nice little fit. The ground's a bit of an odd angle here, so there's some points you need to support and some points you don't at the bottom there. I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out. A few signs there, just pointing down the little alleyway. Take a look around the inside. The desk setup there from Aslam's Workshop Junk Decoration Pack. Or Decoration Pack, I think it is. A couple of gurneys. There's actually a couple of my mods put gurneys in as functional beds, but I didn't want people coming in and sleeping in here, so I just used the decoration ones from USO. One of Aslam's tables, I think, there. It might be... Could be the makeshift furniture pack, actually, that one. Always get these two mixed up. They're in the same section of the menu as well, which doesn't help. A few posters here from Posters of the Commonwealth. A little medical themed table. I am going to put an invisible rug down for a vendor in here, a doctor. But I haven't done that just yet, as I haven't got the medic skill for it, actually. So that's one I need to add. I'll need to push this character on a little bit in my own time before too long anyway, so we'll pick that up, hopefully, before we do the full tour. A few spotlights so you can see what's going on the table there, and a few other lights just to illuminate it a little better. There we go. We'll take another quick swing around the outside. Yeah, all coming together quite nicely. Put a little bit more decoration in the corner behind us there, and it should help create the kind of enclosed claustrophobic feel I'm going for. For now, thank you very much for watching. Do hope you enjoyed. If you did, you know what to do by now. If you'd like to consider supporting the channel a little more directly, you can become a channel member. All the information's down in the description for you. For now, thank you very much, and I will be speaking to you all very, very soon.